Welcome to our overview of the proposed 5-year update to the Town of Mount Pleasant 2019 to 2029 Comprehensive Plan. This update is the product of integration of information from a number of sources. We started with a review of the existing plan, then added in public input from the Public Input Matters meetings, or PIMs as we'll be calling them. We then incorporated updates, data, and recommendations from other new reports and adopted plans. All of this information taken together makes up this draft of the plan. Any public comments submitted during this review process will be forwarded along with this draft to Town Council for their consideration. Within the context of this plan, the majority of new information is related to a few specific themes. Inclusion of public input from PIMS data. Next, incorporation of data recommendations and goals related to our resilience conversation. This includes information on the town's economic strategy adopted in 2022. Also included in this update are new terminology, data, and project status information to give a better understanding of current conditions. Land uses have only been recommended for modification where an error has been identified or a rezoning has occurred. Now, with that understanding of the context of this update, we're going to jump into discussion of a summary of the draft plan. 5-year review is required by state code and is intended to reflect changes in conditions and to document implementation progress of this plan over the past 5 years. With the addition of a resiliency element, there are now 10 specific elements that must be included within a comprehensive plan in South Carolina. As our plan is organized by issues, you will see these symbols throughout the plan to tie back to the required elements. With the now required inclusion of a resiliency element, we have broadened discussion within this document about how recommended actions serve to help support the town's health and resiliency long term. When we say resilience or resiliency, we are basically talking about our collective ability to bounce back when our community is hit with inevitable challenges. Many of the specifics of our various resiliency plans are incorporated within newly finalized documents linked and referenced in this plan. The 2019 plan recommended that we dig deeper into citizen concerns on a local level. So, in 2022 to 23, the town initiated the Public Input Matters series to hear directly about issues identified in the plan from more citizens around town. This feedback was instrumental to deepening understanding of local concerns and constitutes a great deal of the new material in this plan. This symbol is used throughout the draft plan document and this presentation to identify information that came from these meetings. Within the 2019 plan, a new vision statement and a number of goals were identified to help guide the town's initiatives going forward. These goals were focused on 4 themes: quality of the built environment or place, quality of life, community character, safe and efficient mobility, and taking the long view. These have not changed in this update. When we took the conversation about this vision and goals to the public in our PIMS meetings, we heard that the town excels in safety and neighborhood quality and character, yet needs to improve in transportation and housing opportunities. Specific to the goals related to place, this plan reflects the need to improve the current public infrastructure to meet the demands of growth and to develop the unique characteristics of each residential, commercial, and mixed-use area of the town. In order to protect our quality of life and community character, the plan stresses opportunities to honor the town's coastal village heritage and natural features, while also recognizing that different parts of town each have their own unique character. Regarding having a safe and efficient mobility system, the plan focuses on developing a reliable, sustainable, and accessible transportation system with multiple travel options which safely connect communities, businesses, and cultural areas. And finally, the last theme, taking the long view, speaks to the town's need to focus on remaining resilient to evolving conditions while enhancing and maintaining the high standards and quality of life residents expect. As the concept of resilience touches many aspects of this plan, you will see that snippets of the resilience conversation can be found throughout the document. Within this updated plan, new text has been incorporated to demonstrate the link between our defined goals and improving the town's resilience for the long term. When the 2019 plan was initially developed, the Plan Forum identified a number of specific issues that warranted focus within the community. These issues were related to the design of hubs and mixed-use centers, the need for housing diversity and affordability, the desire to recognize and protect historically African American communities, also called settlement communities, as well as the cultural core, defining the concept for the Mount Pleasant Way shared use path, assuring the town's long-term financial health, and pursuing development of an open space network. In the context of these issues, the input from our PIMS meetings confirmed that citizens wanted smaller scale development tailored to the local character, with easily accessible mixed-use areas that would function as destinations for residents to gather. There was also notable concern over the need to recognize and protect settlement communities. Also, as part of our focus on integrating resilience into the plan, language has been included within several of these focus areas to document the benefits to local resilience of the recommendations of this plan. In addition, recommendations for financial health and the open space network also tie into resilience efforts. As another component of our 2019 plan, the town also developed a long-range transportation plan and model to identify growth patterns and guide development of appropriate transportation projects. This allowed the town to better understand traffic flow within the Mount Pleasant area, utilizing projections of growth to the year 2040. As conditions related to this update remain within these limits, this model is still reliable and will likely be reevaluated with the next comprehensive plan rewrite. Of course, transportation concerns remain high on the list for many, so the town continues to pursue projects and develop initiatives to improve mobility and transportation safety. Over these past 5 years, a number of planned improvements have been implemented, with others in the works. This draft plan provides updates to the status of all projects conceived and discussed in the original plan. In addition, since the adoption of the 2019 plan, the town has commissioned and completed both a mobility action plan and a safety action plan to develop specific guidance and action items for pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure improvements and safety enhancements. Many of the policies and initiatives identified within those plans address already identified goals and simultaneously create more resilient options within our transportation network. The next chapter of the plan discusses community character. Here, we look at the town from two different perspectives: network plans and neighborhood districts. The network plans basically look at the provision of a type of network or service town-wide. These are specific to a particular sector of community life. This is where the expanded information related to the business community is located, along with a focus review of resiliency efforts and status. These various networks and challenges related to them were discussed within the PIMS conversations, and this information has been included in this update. The draft plan also highlights progress toward meeting various network plan goals since the adoption of the 2019 plan. For our resilience focus, this section also contains information on the various related plans that have been completed and adopted by the town and others over the past several years. These plans provide important context and data and expand our understanding of the town's readiness and challenges related to local resiliency. Next, In addition to looking at the town-wide service networks, this chapter also examines the different geographic parts of town and their specific needs and challenges. 7 Public Input Matters meetings were held at locations around town, 1 in each district. Carolina Park and rural were combined. Our intent in doing this was to ensure that the meetings were as easily accessible as possible to improve our ability to learn about the needs and challenges of each specific area. Each land use district section within this document includes the information presented at those meetings, as well as the feedback received. A few new recommendations were also added from the Green Space Report that were specific to these land use districts and relate to deficiencies identified in that report. Having reviewed our vision and goals, transportation network, service provision, and land use throughout the town, we come to the Community Action chapter of the plan, which focuses on how to best implement the numerous goals and recommendations contained throughout the plan. This chapter is broken into 2 main sections. The Priority Investment section discusses funding mechanisms, while Priority Actions identify specific initiatives, actions, and steps identified to help the town implement the various goals and recommendations of this plan. Action items are prioritized, considering need and difficulty, and are organized in the chart by type of initiative in order to keep related activities together for ease of use and coordination. The action item component of this draft includes updates on actions taken related to the various action items defined in the 2019 plan. There are also a number of new action items that have been identified and added specifically to address public input matters feedback and resilience issues. With Chapter 7, we have reached the part of the plan that is largely supporting information. This chapter describes the qualities of each of the land use classifications utilized in the land use section of the plan. In these sections, the underlying land use classifications do not change in this draft. There are several places where terminology has been changed, but only to match the language of the new zoning code. Within these land use categories, there remain areas of continued focus that align with goals and recommendations found throughout the draft plan. The last 2 chapters contain the data upon which the various recommendations of this plan rest. Chapter 8 contains data related to the long-range transportation model. Chapter 9 contains a range of data supporting the plan's various required elements. Where possible, this information has been updated to reflect more recent conditions than the data utilized in 2019. Thank you for taking the time to get to know a bit more about the Town of Mount Pleasant's comprehensive plan and our current update. Please join us at one of our upcoming meetings where we will start with this presentation, then shift to an open house style format to discuss and answer questions regarding the draft plan. We also hope that you will share your thoughts through the questionnaire available online at www.tompsc.com.